putts equals a rough round. So, whatever. Well, thanks, man. Appreciate it. All right. Let's go jump in a practice round. Putting green. No, we're not doing that. So, let's just go get on Congo. Practice. Apparently, all we can do is tournament, so we'll take that. No, hole 9, I have a note, Mike, that says divide by 4. Thanks, Craig. So yeah, divide by 4 on hole 9 from the back tee. If I'm playing like Showdown or something else, I might divide by 3.5 if I'm playing a closer tee. But that back tee, it's divide by 4. Yep. No problem. All right, so let's put ourselves a little bit away from this. So for field putting purposes, all right, we are on 12 greens. So let me start by saying there's 2 things that I have on my Discord server that can help you with putting. If you want a putting calculator that just throws in the distance and elevation, and then you can put in the green speed for ease, you can just type it in there and it tells you how hard to hit it. You can use a calculator. It doesn't really matter. I have that sheet in there. That was posted. The sheet that I use was posted on, it's in the WGT Tools and Sheets Only section in my Discord. If you type in !Discord, you can get a link to the Discord server and the Twitch chat. And on YouTube, there should also be a link to my Discord server. So you can go in there, the WGT Tools and Sheets Only section. Please don't post any questions in there. We're just putting in tools and sheets only. There's a discussion section right underneath that channel that you can post questions and stuff in. But Burnham, Mike, posted a sheet, an Excel sheet that is the one that I use on January 23rd of 2022 of this year. So 123, he posted it, gives an explanation on how to use it and all that stuff in there, but it comes in handy. It's really good. So it's what I've been using all year, and it's fantastic. There's also JC Sneed Aim on there. If you want to do dot counting and want to experiment with it, you can do that, and I'll do some dot counting today, among other things. The other thing, if you don't want to do any kind of like spreadsheet or dot counting, if you just want to use a calculator, that's absolutely fine. That's what you have to do in eTour. The putting calculations were posted in there on June 4th in the same section in Discord, and those were posted by Jay Smithers in the Facebook Players Lounge. So thanks to Josh for posting that in there. You can go in there and grab those calculations, and it shows the standard calculations for 7.4, 7.9, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and I don't know if 14's on there or not, but I think it is. So anyway, you can use those. You'll need that to calculate. So the first bit of advice I can say, I normally play tournaments, but I have been experimenting with coin rooms over the last 4 or 5 months, having fun in there, been playing the showdowns and stuff like that. And so if you are a coin room player, you mostly play coin rooms, the first thing I'm going to tell you is turn off the power buddy or whatever it is that tells you how hard to hit it. Turn it off, throw it in the trash, don't ever use it again. It lies, it's deceiving, I don't trust it. I've hit way too many putts that come up short or long, and it just gets me in more trouble than it's worth. I calculate every putt 100%. Yeah, turn it off. It sucks. So I shouldn't say that. I love WGT. I appreciate it when you're just first starting out and you're trying to learn the game and all that stuff. It's helpful. Once you get past that point, you're done being on the milk and you're ready for meat. You know, when you grow up a little bit in the game, it's time to turn it off and do it yourself. And there's better ways of doing it. So I recommend using those calculations. Use the calculations that Jay Smithers posted and use a calculator. It's very simple. It's distance plus or minus elevation divided by whatever the divisor is per those green speeds. In this case, I think it's 0.75. So this one you could easily do on a calculator. It's 14.7 plus 1.6 divided by 0.75. And this tells me to hit this. Did I do that right? Hold on. I messed something up here. Yeah, I'm messing something up on my calculator. Oh, it's times. What am I saying? It's times. It's not divided. That's my bad. Times 0.75. So 12.2. So hit this for, this is an 8 dot speed. I got you. So hit this for 12.2. So the three different putting methods I was going to talk about today. The first is going to be field putting. And field putting it's what I did for 3 years. Actually, I did it for about 2.5 years. So in field putting, it takes a lot of practice. And I mean a lot of practice, because you have to be able to look at this and you have to be able to see the line. Okay. So you have to visualize where this is going to go based off the green speed, based off how hard you're hitting it, the power and all of that stuff, whether it's uphill, whether it's downhill. The reason field putting for me was so difficult is because, especially if you're playing coin rooms, the green speeds are constantly changing. Now, as a field putter, one of the things I did is I got away from some of the coin rooms towards the beginning because I was in a country club that had a lot of 12 greens. And so I got good on 12 greens. And when I say good, I'm talking about I was a master back then, and like I could shoot 10 under was a decent round for me. Sometimes a stellar round would be like 12, or, if I broke 50 or 60, shot in the 50s, it was huge. It was just like the highlight of my day. So, but there were days I got frustrated because there were days where I was super on, and then there were days where I was off on everything. I couldn't see the line to save my life. And I remember when I was field putting, when the PGA 2K came out in 2021, I played it for like 7 days straight. I came back here and I couldn't make anything. I was like, that's it. I'm never playing another game, like another golf game. I'm done. I just totally lost. I felt like I'd lost, 6 months of work in learning how to putt. So I wanted to adopt something that could help me do this better. And you can field putt. Jay Smithers is a field putter, and Jay Smithers also has a photographic memory. And so when you've got 10,000 ranked rounds, I've got, where am I at? I've played this game a lot. I've got 2,300 ranked rounds, right? So I'm playing guys who've got, 12,000, and I'm competing against them on a regular basis, playing the 1,000 credit sit and goes and things of that nature. I needed something to help me, like, I don't know, elevate me to their level, kind of lessen the learning curve, so to speak. That's why I started experimenting with different methods. So for me, field putting, it's just literally seeing what you think the line is going to be. Okay. So I'll just look at this, and I haven't field putted in forever. So don't make fun of me. I'm just literally being vulnerable here, and then putting it for what I think. And this is about somewhere in this general vicinity. Wasn't too far off. All right, so that's that. Back in the day, that's just me, field putting. The next step I took in kind of my putting journey, and forgive me, but that's what I'm going to talk about. I mean, I think that's, where I've played this game over the last 4 years, 4.5 years, and have kind of evolved and gotten better. My putting has gotten better consistently. And so the next thing I did to help me was I heard someone, we were playing around, it was with Dean Barr and Jay Smithers and those guys. And I think it was Dean Barr who said something about, finding the pace. And so I was like, finding the pace, what is he talking about, finding the pace? And so I learned that I'm going to hit this a certain amount of power. And in this case, what is this telling me to hit? This is telling me these are 12 greens. So this is telling me to hit this. My putting calculator that I'm using is telling me to hit it 13.6 feet. I think that's firm, but I think my putting calculator is set up that way. If I'm going to use a calculator and it's telling me 12.2 feet, okay, so let's just try that. So what is this? 7.5, 9, 11.5, 13, right? So somewhere in this area, is that right? This is 1.5. This is 3 off. No, this is 12. Right, so we need to be up in here. Somewhere up in here. All right, so that distance was correct. And I wasn't aiming, I just wanted to hit it for the distance. So that distance was right. All right, so if I'm using that, what this is telling me is 12.2 feet. So what I would do to find my pace, this might help a little bit on uphill putts. It helps, I think, even more. It's helping me on downhill putts. If I'm going to hit this 12.2 feet, right, then I'm going to drag this back to 12.2 feet. And now it's still 1.3 inches up. Well, in the putting world on this game, that is for every inch, it's 1 foot. So then this now becomes like 10.9 feet of power is what I would consider my pace. So the power I'm going to hit this, and then the rest of the putt is momentum and break. So it's going to break way more. So my pace, I would draw this back to 10.9, and I would understand that all the power in my putt is going to be exhausted basically by this point, right? Because I'm going to hit this for 12.2 of power. So then I can drag this out here and think, this is where I'm going to be. This is the power of my putt. Now it's going to start breaking some, but the drastic part of the break is going to be after this. So to me, finding my pace, this is helping me see my line, if that makes sense, okay? So I can hit this for the same amount of power, right? That 12.2 or whatever it is. And then I can see once it gets past that point, that's when it really starts breaking more, okay? So I'm just doing this for demonstration purposes. So let's go to where it's a downhill. All right. So this to me is going to be even better because it's downhill. It's going to help us see, you know, what our pace is. So I'm going to take 18.1 minus 1.2 times 0.75. Now it's telling me to hit it 12.675, so 12.7 feet, right? So if I take this and I drag this back to 12.7, now it's down almost another inch. So take almost a foot off. So this would be 11.8. So 11.8, right about there, is where it's going to exhaust all of the power that I put into this putt. And then the rest is going to be break. So now, obviously it's going to start breaking sooner, but once the power is exhausted, now it's just the momentum and the break is going to be that much more. So I would drag this out somewhere in this general vicinity. And again, I'm guessing here, so don't berate me. I'm guessing on the power too. I haven't putted like this in over a year, so reserve all your judgment. I'm just trying to talk you through my process and what I'm doing. So anyway, if I bring this back again, 12.7-ish, 11.8, because it was down almost an inch. Let's try it right there. Nope, don't hit that. I need to switch scales. All right, much closer. So, but again, all of this is going to take practice. If you guys think you're going to come in and like, I'm going to give you advice, or you're going to watch, Young 46's videos and all of that stuff and learn how to do this and make every putt, you're just mistaken. It's not like that. So, and even using this method, this helped me. This to me is still feel putting, but it took it a step farther. Like it gave me even more accuracy. I mean, there were 3 grid putts that I made. Now, I didn't make a lot of 18-foot putts back then, but I made a lot more than I used to by just feel putting and just leaving it out here. I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, if Evan, you're watching this or you see this, ECC, Evan from Penalty Box, I think he putts this way. Because when I was telling Josh, I was explaining this to Jay Smithers when I learned this, he's like, that's how Evan putts. So I could be wrong, but I think that's what he does. He finds his pace and then goes with that. To me, this helps you visualize the line even better. You can do it even more. So anyway, on when I was doing this, two guys in our club were coming up and they were qualifying for like, what's up, Maddie? They were qualifying for the live series and they had been playing the game for like a year or less. And I'm going, what in the world? You know, I had been doing this for at least 2 years at the time. And like, why are they so much better than me? And they explained how they had just grabbed a sheet and learned how to dot count. And so it's that saying, you know, if you can't beat them, join them. So I thought, okay, well, I'm going to learn how to dot count. And when I came into it, I thought, I'm going to learn how to dot count. I'm going to get this down and I'm going to make every putt. And I don't think it's that way. I think you're really kidding yourself if you think you're going to do that. But what it does is there's a great movie that I like. It's called The Patriot with Mel Gibson. And it's set back in the American Revolution days. Back then he was teaching his sons how to shoot. And his philosophy in shooting was aim small, miss small. So that's kind of how I think the dot counting does that for you. I think it's a aim small, miss small. You're gonna miss putts, but you're not gonna miss them how drastically I missed that first one when I tried to, you know, use my pace and I missed by like 4 cups wide. So it can dial you in. And then if you are a field putter or you've been a field putter and you decide to learn how to dot count, I think you have an advantage because you still, every putt, my dog can't make up his mind whether he wants in or out. Every putt is a field putt. So when I count these dots, I mean, I do know some guys who will go through and they will count every single dot. And it's from the time you hit this, when it starts in the middle here, and then it hits the line. There will be guys who count every single dot and then find the average of those. I don't. To me, I find the dot that looks like the average, and that's the dot that I count. Sometimes it's wrong, but I get it right a lot of the time. So dot counting in this case, I would actually bring this to where that line is where my ball is because I'm going to be hitting it from over here. I don't want to just count this grouping and I don't want to just count this grouping. I would rather count this. And what these dots, the dots that are going to be right here, what they represent is the average speed between this line and this line. Okay. So I've got a timer set up and then all of this stuff is in my sheets and tools. And I've got the timer that I use in there. It's free to download. You can use it. You can set up hotkeys. So I have hotkeys set on my keyboard. So I just click the Z key and touch the aim box at the exact same time and it starts the timer. And then I'll touch the Z key again and it ends the timer. So this dot I've got counted at 9.4 seconds. So this is telling me that this is about 6.3 half cups. So this is 6 half cups, half of a grid. So this would be somewhere in this range. Now this is telling me to hit 90%, which is more, but this sheet has me hit firmer, which is fine. So to me, if I'm doing something like this and it's that far off, I've got something wrong. Maybe it's my dot speed. You know, I did something wrong. But this sheet is pretty accurate as far as that goes. Now, maybe I should be, because I should be hitting it out here more, maybe I should be counting these more. I'm not sure. But what this is going to do, counting the dots, it's going to allow you to just get closer than, you know, not counting, I should say. And it could be, oh, okay. Well, hold on. it would help if I typed in the right stuff in my sheet. That last putt, I have my previous distance and elevation in. It was the uphill putt. So that was why it was telling me it hit at 90%. So let me try this. This is telling me 12 half cups, which is a full grid. And it's telling me to hit it softer. So let me try this, what this is saying. Now the elevation's changing here a little bit, so I'm going to come in a half cup, and I can explain that later. But we're going to try this and see what it does. See if it's closer than that last putt. So I missed late, which pushed it with the break. That's a no-no. If I hit that either early or if I ding it, that's in the hole. So, but that's a better reflection of the dot counting method when you put the right measurements in there. So something that I found, at least on this sheet that I use, is when the elevation changes. So this is down 1.2 inches, but here it's only 0.8. To me, if I hit it the same, if I leave it out here, it's possible it's going to go in. It's not that much of a change, so we can try it. And I hit it on the correct side. But see, now I'm high. So each green speed is going to have a different rule. And this is something that I found using this sheet specifically. I think Young 46 might have, I think he's got other things worked out. He's looked at the formula that I use and he's like, it's 95% there, but we can adjust for anything, right? And so what I found on 13 greens is what I play on mostly. So I use, for every inch of elevation change, I take off 25% of a grid, which is on this, in this case, it's 3 half cups. So a full grid is 12 half cups. So 25% of that, 3 half cups. So this was only 0.4 of an inch, so not quite half of an inch. So just taking off half of a cup, I think would be pretty accurate here. And it was. I mean, we've been on both sides of the hole. I pulled the power on that. Hold on. But this is stuff, and I pushed it again, so it might miss low again. Now it's going in. So this is stuff that you guys can take this information and go practice on the greens. So this week, I qualified for the live series that I'm going to be playing on Saturday, and it was on this course. And the live series is going to be 14 greens. Let's get up here somewhere. The live series is going to be 14 greens. So I want to practice on, yes, what Mike said. Dot counting takes a long time to get down and to master. Practice this stuff in a tournament. Go and practice greens, whatever it is. If you're worried about ball hits, the putting doesn't matter. So use starter balls if you want to practice that way. But I don't really care about the ball hits. So I'm going to put in my distance and then the elevation. Okay. So on this one, it's telling me to hit this 18.72. So I can do the same thing. We can find our pace. Okay. If we go back to 18.7. So most of my power on the putt is going to be somewhere right in here. And this might, again, might miss miserably because I haven't putted this way in a year and a half. But I'm just thinking like it's going to start breaking a little bit, you know, maybe dying around in here. Oh, wait. So 18.4, right? Or no, 18.7, but now it's down another 4.2. So let's add 18 to 22. So 23 basically is where the most of the power in the putt is going to be dead right around here. So if I'm in and up down here and then it finishes breaking, let's just hit it here and see what it does. But what I want you to notice is where it really started breaking was right where our power ran out. Right where we were talking about, right at that 23 foot mark, right? So find your pace. If you don't want to dot count, just start using this method. Find your pace, you know, get where you think it's dying, where you see the power is going to die. And then the rest is just going to be almost, especially these big downhill putts, it's going to be like a free for all or a free fall. So, but considering that, you know, this is what I'm saying where it's more difficult to dial this in when you're constantly changing green speeds. You know, if you're moving from 10s up to 14s or, you know, 9s to 12s or whatever that is, it's going to be harder to really be able to see these lines on a consistent basis. So I'm going to hit it one more time. Still going to be low. All right, but that's getting it close, right? All right, now I'm going to count it. What's up, V Burr? How you doing, Stefan? Good to see you, man. All right, so this one, we're going to be hitting across 2 grids. So when I count these dots, I'm actually going to be looking at all of these and just kind of taking a guess on what I think is the average, you know, dots. Thank you. My dog's been wanting out. So. All right. So there's some rules that, or some kind of nuances with the putting that you're going to notice. The faster dots towards the beginning of the putt make the putt break sooner. So it's going to be more. So you're going to have to count a faster dot. If all these, like, let's just say these ones here were slow up here, which they're not. They're kind of fast up here too. But let's say they were, and all the fast ones were towards the end of the putt, then I would count one of the slower dots and not one of the faster ones. So as you guys are learning how to count these and figure this out for yourself, it's just something I figured out over the course of the last like year and a half since I started counting. So, hey, yep. And you can catch what you missed on YouTube. I'm going to post this on the YouTube channel too. So if you want to go back and watch, I'm talking about all the different methods. So, all right, but I want to count this. So I'm just looking, I'm going to do it a couple of times to find kind of which dot I want to use. I think I know, I think it's going to be this dot right here. Okay. So I like this dot right here. It seems like a pretty good representation between the faster ones and the slower ones. So we're going to try it. It might be a little on the slow side, but we're going to try it. All right, so it's right at an 8-second dot is what I've got. So this is telling me 3.75 grids. Okay. So if you don't know, right now I can only go over, you know, that's 3 grids and I can't even see my aim box. If you're playing on PC, you can use your arrow keys. If I hit the left arrow, it'll adjust this over so I can see more. Right? So 3, and then this is going to be, you know, somewhere about another 3/4 of a grid. It's going to be right over in here. So I'm going to leave it there. And then I'm going to look at my elevation. So this elevation is changing by 2.5 inches. So it's down 8.9 at the cup, and it's only down 6.4 here. And so on 13 greens, I find it's 25% for every inch of difference. So if this is 2.5, you're looking at 67-ish%, right? Of a grid you take off of the break. These are 12 greens, so I'm going to say 20% instead of 25% for every inch. So we'll have 40, so we'll have somewhere around half of a grid less. So let's take this to 3.25. So we'll take it somewhere around here. And I don't have to add a lot of power. That's what's weird about this. I don't need to add a ton of power to this putt. So I'm going to hit this roughly, it's telling me 62.4%. I'll hit this at 63%. Some of the putts, like the one on the back of Chambers, number 7, if you're putting behind that, that's the one where the elevation, the approach shot, it's way up above your feet. And it's really hard to get that to stop around the hole. So you'll be behind the hole 20 feet a lot of times. That putt, you got to add power. There's certain putts where you have to add a bunch of power. What is it? Number 17 at, not Oakmont, Olympic. The par 5 that's way uphill on the approach. You'll be behind that hole a lot. That one you have to add power. You'll find the ones where you do, but some of them you don't have to add a lot. So we're just going to try this one without it. Now I'm on the 60 scale and I missed late. It's not real good, but look at this. So this is the perfect example of aim small, miss small, right? What did that just do? Oh, I wanted to take a mulligan. Oh, well. We'll go to the next hole. But I hope you see, like, just in my mind about, and this is coming from experience, when I'm talking about taking off some of the break based on the elevation. Yeah, I took the gimme. Yeah. So based on that elevation, you're going to have to find out, you know, your own rules. I'm still figuring it out for the 14 greens. And so I actually spent a lot of time this morning playing the champion tournament because it's on 14 greens. And so I just want to get as much practice on those 14s as possible. So let's play this here. How much do I add power? Honestly, I don't have any rules set, Stefan. It's really by feel right now. And that one, literally, it said 62.4%, and I hit it about 63, maybe 63.5%, that last putt. So, and you know what? I was high. So maybe it would have went in if I would have hit it, 62.4. But there's only, I find that the rule as far as taking off the brake for the elevation, that rule that I've kind of made in my own head as far as 25% per inch on 13 greens or 20% per inch on 12 greens, that I've made that based on not really adding power. It has to be a drastic amount of brake and elevation change, like going from 4 inches down to 2 inches up where it's telling me to aim, because now I got to hit this thing uphill to get it there. That one I'm going to be adding power, but it's really a situational thing, and you're just going to have to, like I said, I mean, I know in my mind, because I've had the putt a million times, number 7 on Chambers from behind that hole. I know I have to add power. When I miss that putt, it's because I didn't add enough power. Same thing with number 17 on Olympic, that par 5 from behind the hole. I know when I miss it, it's because I didn't add the power to it. So those ones I force myself to add power. A lot of times I'm not adding any power to it. It just depends. So let me talk about dot counting and uphill putts using this sheet. So, because this is, if you're going to try dot counting, this is really important. Knowing ahead of time, it's going to save you so much frustration in uphill putts using this sheet. You're going to be like, why am I so high all the time? So if you are a legend, what is it? Is it legend when you get to 13 greens, or tour legend is your default? I forget. But whenever you get to 13 greens, you're playing on 13 greens all the time. If you count dots and you put it in this sheet, you are going to miss your putts high all the time. Even 12 greens, you're going to miss your putts high. And it's very, very frustrating. It's going to drive you nuts. So Primer Lance, who's a friend of the stream, told me on 13 greens, take off a foot of power and count your dot. So in this case, if these were 13 greens, I would put in 29.3 feet, and then my 4.9 inches, put that into the spreadsheet. And then I would count my dot, okay? Which this is pretty good because the ball is right here on this line and the hole is right here on this line. So this gives us a really good representation of what's going to be happening in this area. So I just moved this to get the line out of the way so I can see everything. Now remember what I said, the faster dots at the feet, you want to count one of the faster dots. So I'm going to count like that dot right there, which gives us about 8. Okay, so this is telling me 174% of a grid. So 1 grid and 3/4 of another, basically, is what this is telling me. So they're telling me to aim here. Okay. On 12 greens, on 11 greens, I don't have to take off a foot to get that. It seems to play true on 11 greens. So just put in your 30.3 and be done with it. On 12 greens, this seems to be too much. So on 12 greens, I take off 0.5 of a foot. So if this was 30.3, I would type in 29.8 and I would move it out that much. Now it's saying 178, 179% of a green. So somewhere out here on 12 greens. Now this, I might have picked a faster dot, or you know what, I'm hitting over here and this is not as fast as the foot break over here. So maybe this is too fast. So let me back it off and say 8.5. Now this is telling me like 1.65% of a grid. So somewhere in here. So I like the half cups because a full grid is 12 half cups. A grid and a half, that's 18. So this is telling me 165% of a grid. I could guess at what I think 165% looks like, or I can go off the half cups, which it's 19.8 half cups. Well, if this is 18, this is 19, now I need another 0.8. So I can just double click out here and be somewhere around in here. So that is to find my aim point on the dot based on the dots. So now I'll go back into the power, take it out to 30.3, and I'm going to hit it this hard. So I'm going to hit it 89% of the 60 or the 30 scale. Now it is 5.1 up. It was 4.9 up at the cup. When it's that minimal of a difference, I don't take off any. So you can adjust it how you want, but I typically don't take off any for that. glad I dinged the 30 scale, because when you don't, it sucks. So we're still just a tad high. So I felt, so this is why I say take mulligan. Not, okay, so I want to take a mulligan there, not a gimme. All right, so this is where I say the field putting comes into play during your dot counting. Because I have to realize that these dots I was looking at right here, these fast foot brake dots, they're not as fast right here. Or some of them are fast, but not quite as fast. So when I counted an 8-second dot over here, I had moved it out to 8.5. Maybe I should move that out to a 9. You know, maybe the 9-second was the count I needed. So this is telling me just over 18 on the brake. So almost 18 and a half on a 9-second count. And guys, I know it sucks, but it could be in between that. Like you might have to find the 8.75, you know, but it can be that precise. But look, we missed it and we barely missed it. That's what I'm trying to get at. It's an aim small, miss small. You know, if you're going to miss, you want your misses to be small, because you're going to have those rounds where instead of lipping out everything, you make everything, right? Now, that's weird. It seemed like we kind of, take mulligan, we kind of missed that high again in the same place, and we even adjusted. So I don't know if there's a variance on it. I don't think I hit that one harder, but maybe I did. You know, I dinged it. I can tell you this. Josh will tell you, don't hit the 30 scale. Did I hit that 80% and not 90%? I think I did. Josh, Jay Smithers. Okay, I hit it smart. All right. Smithers will tell you not to hit the 30 scale because it's inconsistent. So, which is fine. I mean, I would never argue with that guy. So, I'm not, to me personally, I'm not good enough on the ding, because that missed right in the same spot as where I hit the ding before. So, but anyway, I'm not good enough on the ding to trust the 60. So this is telling me I'll do it, but this is telling me to hit 40, almost 45% of the 60 scale. Let's see what it does. I make the putt. Nice. I know it's your guys' favorite. I won't do it. So my brother Terry had a name for those people. My older brother, he's 15 years older than me. He was like a father figure to me. He said the people who ask it for advice all the time and then never follow it, he called them assholes. So they just constantly ask and they never take the advice. I don't. Thanks for the follow, Big Mess. Hope you enjoyed my happy dance there. It was just for you. So I'm not going to be that guy. I'm not going to be an asshole. If someone's way better than me at something and I'm asking for their advice, I'm going to listen to them. That's me. Take it for what it's worth. That's what I'm doing. So, whoops, I wanted to hit a 9-iron. So I'm just not good enough on the ding to, that was all right. So this is a great example, and you're going to run into this all the time, where you've got it double braking. And so I don't dot count these because I don't trust it. Now, I've heard some of the guys who are better at dot counting than me, they'll literally dot count these the one way, dot count these the other way, and then like split the difference. I haven't figured out how to do that. I feel put these. So you guys do what you want. Maybe you could watch their tutorial on that. I don't think there is one, but maybe there is. Maybe some guys out there have that, but I do not. So I'm just going to hit this what I think it would, close to what I think it would be, and hope for the best. That was pretty close. If I wouldn't have pulled it, it would have been in. So get somewhere else. All right, so this should be a good one. Just to answer the question before it's asked, maybe someone on YouTube is thinking about it and can't ask it because they're not in the live chat. I get my power, I get everything, I enter that in before I move it. So I put everything into my JC Sneed Aim sheet before I calculate anything. So right here, I'll type in the 14.3 minus 3.8 on my elevation, and then I'll count it from there. So there's two ways to do this. Some dot counters don't like to hit and hold. They don't trust it. I think I've gotten pretty good at doing it at the same time with my timer. So on a putt like this, where I'm not going to be like everything below this line towards my feet, below the ball, is irrelevant. So I don't need this grid. Like half of this grid is irrelevant to me on this putt because the ball is never going to be going over there. I don't need to factor that in. To me, I'm more interested in all of this up here because that's where I'm going to be hitting. So I'm going to hit and hold, which is going to be left click on the aim box to start the dot, and I'm going to hit my Z key that I've got hotkeyed to my timer at the exact same time. So I'm going to start my timer there, and then I'm going to count a dot, probably that one there. So I am right around 5 seconds. I'm counting this dot down here. So I'm right around 5 seconds on the dots. So this is telling me 216% of a grid, or 25.9 half cups. Well, I know that 2 grids is 24 half cups. So if I put this out here, I'll double click it to give me about that much of the cup on that side of the line. That should be 2 grids, right? So there's 24 and we need almost 26. So 25.9. So right about here. So my elevation went from 3.8 to 2.2. So now we've got like what, 1 3/4 inch difference. So if I'm going 2 half cups for every inch of a difference, then let's go 5, just roughly 5 half cups here. Okay. So, 1, 2. All right. This was telling me to hit it 52% of power. I'm going to stick with it. I think the sheet that I use already hits it harder as far as power. So I'm going to stick with it. I don't want to hit it harder. I don't think it's that much of a difference. I think it'll make it there. If you're going to miss late, or if you're going to miss with the break. So we missed it by the width of a ball. To me, that could be because I'm off on my dot count. Maybe this was supposed to be like 4.75, okay? Or something like that. But again, we're aiming small and missing small. We're trying to get as close as possible. I'm hoping that I'm giving you guys stuff that can at least help you dial it in a little bit more. The elevation thing was huge for me from when I dot counted. So I'm going to go 4.75. Now it's telling me like 2.3 grids or 27.6 half cups. So 24, 25, 26, 27.6. Okay. And then we'll come in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm just trying this as an experiment to kind of see, you know, was I off on my dot count? You know, what does that look like? So the 4.75, that was more accurate on that. So the more you guys do this stuff, the more you can use this as that, you know, learning experience. Every time you should be doing this, you should be, you know, putting this information in your toolbox, so to speak, so you can use that information the next time you play. But get out on the greens. I mean, practice what you're doing. If you've got the tier open, go practice the greens. Find out, putt around the green. Find out where you want to land the ball during your round. You know, there's all different things you can do. You're not gonna not put the work in and be amazing and compete with all the top players in the game. You're just not. I mean, you can play a million coin rooms, but if you're not out practicing and actually, you know, considering the information as you're playing, you're not helping yourself, you know. So, all right, something like this, it's not breaking a whole lot through this first part of the putt. I would field putt this. I don't think I would really. Yeah. I just wouldn't take a lot of time. I mean, since I've been counting dots, I don't like to take, you know, I'm not counting a 40-second dot. And I found that when you get up into those higher numbers anyway, it's not real accurate. So this is a great green. I wanted to get to this green because we're going to have long putts on this green all the time. If you're anything like me, you avoid you avoid the water and you're hitting left of the hole. So I have this putt here all the time. And I don't make it a lot of the time. So it's, you know, it is what it is. But we're going to try it out. So 23.8 down 2.7. I say down, I'm hitting minus in the sheet. If you're on a calculator, you would hit minus on the calculator because you're figuring out your distance plus or minus your elevation. You don't hit plus, well, you do hit plus on the calculator. You don't hit plus on the sheet. You just type in, if this was up 2.7, you would just type in 2.7. So that's going to get our distance. Do you guys want me to hit this, like find the pace and then hit it? I can do that too. So 23.8. I kind of hope I miss it though. Minus 2.6 times 0.75. So our pace on this is 15.9. So 15.9, drag it back right there. So now we're down 2.8. So you're basically going from 16 to almost 19. So like, what is that? 18.7 or something like that. So this is going to run out your pace. Did I do that right? 15.9 to 17.9 plus a 7, 18, yeah. So somewhere around here is your pace. So it's going to start breaking right beforehand, and then it's really going to break at the end. So let's try this right there. And then we're going to hit this for 16 feet. Oh, it's going to go in. No, it's not. Good. Okay. So again, it was close. It starts breaking way more once you get past that pace or past where the power of the putt is. That's a lot of P's in one sentence. All right. But now I want to count it. I'm going to see. If you guys have questions, please ask them, because I'm going to run out of things to talk about here real soon. And I want to try to cover as much as I can. So it's going to be too much, I think. This has got me out at like almost a grid. I put in 13 seconds for the dot speed. We got some faster ones here. We actually have faster ones at our feet, and then we've got some non-existent stuff here in the middle. So this is really guesswork. Oh, I don't like the pool. So that's a huge pool on the 30 scale. And I think it was too fast of a dot too, to be honest. I'm going to say 14. So that's 11 or 10.69. So we're going to come there and there. And it might be somewhere in between here, but this is what we're going to try. And I'm going to try to either ding it or miss it early. All right, perfect. So we counted the faster dots, and I guess I gave them too much credit, because especially with the one non-existent dot in the middle that was like not moving. So it's almost a dead spot in the putt. So 13 was just too fast. There's certain putts that I try to off ding on, Danny, but again, for me, that is a feel thing. I've got another video that talks about the all the different nuances that you have to consider in putting. Excuse me. And that's one of them. You've just got to, like, if this thing's spitting out, you know, let's just say 80% of a grid based on the information I put in there. But I felt like I didn't really count that one real slow dot, right? Then maybe I need to take that to 75% of a grid. And I just make that adjustment on the fly. Or you're going to get to where you're feeling the putt, and you guys have probably, if you've watched Young 46 at all, he does this all the time. In the middle of the backswing, he's like, or his downswing, he's like, you know what? I need to miss this earlier. I need to miss this late. There's something mentally, you know, people say you shouldn't do calculations. You guys are doing calculations in your head every time you play this game. I don't care if you don't use a calculator. I don't care if you don't use a spreadsheet or whatever. You are computing in your mind. Your brain is a computer. You are making adjustments, making calculations every time you play this game, period. Using a calculator or using a spreadsheet or something like that is just taking that to another level. That's it. If you think it's not right, cool, don't use it. WGT doesn't care. It's not against terms of service. You are not cheating at the game to do it by the definition of cheating, which is breaking the rules. The rules don't say you can't do that. Now, if you're playing an E-Tour final, you can only use a calculator. You can't dot count. You better get good at field putting. You better learn how to know the pace or whatever, you know, so you can do well in an eTour final. But for the 99.999% of the community who's not in an eTour final, including myself, we can use something like a spreadsheet to count dots to help us play the game better. So, what Adam said in chat, exactly, that's what I was trying to say. That stuff, it's just going to come from experience. You're going to know the situation, you're going to do it, and it's just something you're going to be able to, know and adjust for on the fly. It just is. I don't know how else to say it. So I'm going to get up here somewhere. I didn't want to be in line with the flag, really. Okay, that should be all right. So you're going to want to make bigger adjustments based on, whoops, I don't want to do that, based on your experience. So one of the things I found from experience is the more drastic the downhill is, the faster dot you want to count. On 13 greens, if I was counting dots on this and it was 13 greens, I might count the fastest dot and only use that dot. So we're going to experiment with it on these 12s. Okay, so we're going to go with something like that. So let me check this out. We got 29 down 6.9. All right, and I counted 3.6. This is going to be like ridiculous. But you know what? You guys are going to be in situations where you're going to need these putts. So this is telling me literally almost 7 grids, 6.8 grids. So that's 4.5, so 5, 6, that's 7 out there. So right about where that fringe is at. Now when I'm doing this, I'm going to want to bring this back to about the distance of the cup. So it was at 29 feet, so I want to be in this area. So what is my change in elevation? It went from 6.9 to 0.5. So 6.5 inches. If I'm doing, what is it? These are 12 greens, so we're doing 20%, not 25%. So we're going to take off 20% of break for every inch. So we've got roughly 1.25 grids, 1.3 grids of break. So let's take this into, what is that, 5.7? So 5, that's roughly 4.5 there. So 5.5, somewhere in here. And I'm just doing this on the fly, right? We're just trying to figure this out. Now we are going to have to go uphill and stuff a little bit. So I'm going to hit this one harder. This is going to be one of those ones where, I mean, there's over a 6-inch difference in elevation. I think we need to hit it harder. It's telling me 49% of my 30 scale. I'm going to hit it like 51. The line actually looked brilliant until the very end. It just quit breaking. But let me ask you this. We're 1.4 from the cup. Being realistic, the guys who are watching this that aren't pros, okay, guys who are still learning the game, how many are scared of like maybe even a 2-putt from here or a 3-putt? Like, would you be happy in how you putt today if on this putt you would be within 1.4 feet? Like, when I switched to this, that was a huge win. I mean, if I could eliminate my bogeys on shots like this, dude, that was huge. So what did we say? We said 5.7. We were out 5.7. Let's try 5.5. looks close. We're still going to hit it a little harder than 51. Well, I missed on the wrong side this time, but it's going to stop breaking again. So it's almost the same result. So my thing here is I've got 3.6 on the dot count. I think in a situation like this, we're just a little bit off. And with the variance of these dots, that's pretty dang close. Like, I mean, trying to make the 29 footer all the time, if you're watching this and you're like, well, geez, he's not even making the putt. Okay, well, you're probably not either. So, and you're probably not that close. So just saying, yeah, thanks for being honest, Big Mess. I appreciate that. We're getting ridiculously close for this very difficult putt that's probably less than a 10% make rate. So anyway, I can try something different. I can try like a 3.75. Okay, so this takes us out to 6.5 grids. So and then if I came in, we were at 6.8 grids before, right? So, I mean, this is like 30% of a grid. So if I took this into 5.4, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Not sure if this is going to be the same result or not. Looks like it, because it's going to stop breaking. And maybe this is just that difficult of a putt, right? Because it doesn't, the line doesn't continue, right? So we'll move on to another one. But if you guys get out here, if you guys get out here and practice, you're going to find where you want to be on these greens. The last place you want to be on this green is up here. I mean, red, this is all downhill. The blue's uphill. So for the below the hole short uphill putt, you want to land somewhere in here, right? So you don't want to be up here. So let's go up there. So this isn't breaking much. Again, I would probably feel putt this. So our pace, the distance is telling us to hit at 5 feet. And then at 5 feet, we got another 2. So 7, take it out to 7.1. That's the power of our putt. And then the rest is going to be break. So maybe somewhere in there. Nope, we're going to miss low. That's fine. GL Cheney, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Hope you enjoy my happy dance there. It was just for you. All right. Thanks for the reassurance, Mike. I appreciate it. So I can try to count this. It's just really slow for the count, like super slow. I mean, this dot isn't even moving. So how do you, it's tough. So what I'll do, I'll count this dot right here because these two ended already. This is going to, this dot up here is going to start affecting the break. It's definitely going to move it. So 21.5. So this is telling me 3 half cups. Okay. So this is 5 half cups. So 4, so 3. Still going to be low. So in my mind, when I experience something like this, I'm going to attribute this to this being drastically downhill. It's not quite half, but it's downhill a lot. And so there's going to be way more break in it. So what if we count the faster dot? Let's see what it does. All right, so now we're at 15. So now we're at 4.35 half cups. And what James is saying is a way to count one of the slower dots, right? And then multiply by 3, right? Count it 1 cup and then multiply it by 3 to get the overall speed. So you don't have to take, 21 seconds to count. I don't really need to do it. For me, if it's that slow, I don't count it. I feel put it. So I'm curious to see what this does. This is probably going in, I'm guessing, because again, it's drastically downhill and we're counting the faster dot. Yep, that's center cup. So maybe if the dot at our feet was the one like not moving, then we could go and not really use that method. But when your foot brake is moving and it's moving at the hole, like even the middle of that putt with the drastic downhill, you just got to count the faster dot. So that's on 12 greens. It's working that way on 12 greens. I know it works that way on 13 greens. So I don't think you're going to be wrong in doing it. Meant to hit 3 iron there, but it doesn't matter. This is going to be a tough putt. For me anyway. Because it's an uphill putt. All right, this is going to be great. All right, well, just so you know, where is it at? Is it the... There it is. So this is my screen setup. This is how I play golf with my timer up in the corner. I've got X set to 0 it out. I've got Z set to start my timer. Okay, so this is how I'm constantly playing the game. So for me, it kind of sucks the location of this because we're gonna, I guess I'm just gonna do these dots over here. But that's, if you look, I just click on the aim box and click the Z key at the exact same time and it starts my timer. You can get this timer for free. I've got it in my tools and sheets only if you guys want to use it, if you're playing on PC and want to use it. If not, you can use a a phone or a stopwatch or something like that. I went with this dot right here. They're faster dots, and then there's like non-existent dots. So 14.8, I'm going to say 14.75 on my sheet. Oh, I got to put in the distance and stuff. So again, this is uphill. So I'm going to take off half a foot for the 12 green speeds. So I'm going to make this 28.4, 5.2, and this is telling me 7.9 half cups basically. So I know that 7 is right here, and then almost another full half cup. And now I'll go back out here and put in 29.4. Now this is telling me 88% or 44% of a 60 scale. So let's go 44% of the 60. My meter is going crazy because I've got it on full screen. So let me change this back. Sorry, it did not like that. So we're going to try it again. So what did I say? 7, almost 8. And then 44% of the 60. You don't want to miss late. You don't want to miss with the break. Like, that's just the worst. If you're going to miss early. So there it is. So on 11 greens, you don't have to do that thing with the, subtracting some of the distance. It's just, so let me say it this way. Every single method that you do is going to have different quirks and nuances that you've got to figure out. But you're going to get good at putting if you take the time to do it. Well, I mean, Cheney, the spreadsheet I've got in my Discord server, the timer is in there. Everything I use is in there. So there's a link to my Discord server. You're more than welcome to jump in there. And if you have more questions, I can, if this isn't enough information, ask your questions in there. Don't ask them in the tools and sheets only section. There's a section right underneath for discussion. That's where you want to post your questions and such. So I'm not going to try to pronounce your name, but thank you for the follow. Hope you enjoy my happy dance there. It was just for you. All right, so what do we got here? Does that get up there? It's going to be long and left. That's what we wanted. Okay, this would be a good putt. Sphincter says what? All right. So 15.4 down 4.1. We're going to be hitting this at a distance of about 8.25 feet. Okay, so if I came back here, 8.2. Now we got another 3 foot we need to add to that, so 11.2. That's going to be our pace, right? That's how much power we're going to put on the putt. So most of the break is going to come after that. So hopefully that helps you start to see your line. It's going to move. We're going to go right there. Okay, it's going to miss. Thank you. All right. I don't want to make those because I want to do the putt over again. I want to count it. So again, this is down 4 inches. So I'm going to count one of the faster dots. Okay. So it's fast right at our feet and it's fast here. I'm going to count that dot right there. I've got 7.25. Let's see what this does. This says almost 18 half cups on this putt. So there's 18. There's a little less. All right. But now we are at 3.6 inches and it was 4.1. So I'm going to come in, because of the ½ inch difference, I'm going to come in 1 cup. Okay. And then I'm going to hit this at 55%. It's a little hard. That's close. All right. So maybe we don't have to count the fastest dot. I mean, we didn't count the fastest. Maybe we make it a little bit less. But again, this to me, the reason we missed that is because our dot count is wrong. It's not because our method is off. We should have subtracted more or this or that. Our first aim point was based on our dot count. That's what was wrong. So I would say the 7.25 second dot is wrong. 7.5 puts us at 17. So that's 17. 3.7, we can still, for the elevation, maybe not come in quite as much. Maybe 3/4 of a half cup, and that's it. I just don't want to overdo it. You know, I don't want to make it, it's complicated enough. So if we ding that, it's in. But regardless, I think you guys get the gist of what I'm doing here. There's no perfect way. Everyone's going to do their own thing. Dex, if the dots are moving at an average speed, the break is equal to the adjusted distance to the hole. Yeah, I have no idea what that means. I'm sorry, man. To me, that's another formula or way to do it, and it's probably correct. I mean, there's so many different ways to play this game. There's so many different ways to do it. I have watched a guy demonstrate it for me on Discord. He literally came in and counted every single dot, put it in, found out the average, put it in, and made every single putt. So, I mean, his method was genius. But at the same time, that same person hasn't necessarily qualified for all the live events and things like that. So there's different ways to play the game, and I would never tell any one person that they have the right way to do it. You know, I try to find a way that is successful and that I can duplicate. And learning this method, these guys have been more successful than I was at the time. And now I'm starting to, you know, experience some of that same success with, you know, qualifying for these live events and winning some of these bigger tournaments and things like that. So I hope it's helpful to you guys. I don't want to continue to say the exact same things over and over again. If you guys do have questions, you know, comment on the YouTube video, or post the questions in the Discord. Discord's probably the best way to get a hold of me because I'm in there every day. But, you know, join our community, guys. Ask the questions. There's a lot of us that are just working to get better, and nobody seems to be stingy. I mean, we're all sharing information. So I would encourage you guys to come be a part of it. Join that EIGN family, and, you know, we can get better together. I know it sounds cliche, but I'm serious. I mean, it works, and guys are getting a lot better at this game. So, and whatever level you want to do it at, you know what I mean? So, I hope you guys enjoy the game. I hope you've enjoyed this video, this stream. I'm going to be on vacation this week, so I don't know if I'm going to stream every day. Might still not be streaming on Tuesday and Wednesday, but we should be back on Thursday regardless. So if you're watching this on YouTube, catch me live on Twitch. Hit the follow buttons, have the notifications on so you know when I go live. You can watch me play through my rounds live, and I will be, answering questions live with you guys. Feel free to ask. I hate it when chat's quiet because I like interacting with you guys. So it calms my nerves, and I feel like I play better when I'm playing with friends. So, all right, guys, thanks so much, and I will talk to you guys later. Have a wonderful Monday, everybody. We'll see you.